Hi, this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. I think it's never too young to learn to have fun with crafts. And with that in mind, I've made a cheap and easy spool knitter that you might like to try with your kids.
When I was a little girl, a lot of us learned to knit on what was called a knitting spool. And it was pretty much 4 nails in a thread spool. Here is a modern spool. As you can see, putting 4 nails in it is going to be a touch difficult. Also, the hole in the middle is kind of skimpy. At the time, these were called knitting spools, knitting jennies, knitting nancies, knitting nobbies, knitting pals, all sorts of things. And I'm puzzling over ways to make them with modern odds and ends. So if you've been wondering, what is this crazy lady up to? That's what it is. What I'm going to do is try a bunch of found objects. This is a spool that contained hemming thread. I'm a professional seamstress, and so I have all this thread. This spool is empty, and I think it might be suitable. This was formerly one of these, a little airline liquor bottle. I think that any sturdy mini bottle might work. I am going to do all of the gluing off camera because I have to confess I'm a dreadful gluer. I'm not good at getting only one drop on, so pretty frequently I end up stuck to myself, and I don't want to do that on camera, just me. So this one has already had Cotter pins applied to it, but I have no idea that super glue is going to really hold them. That is just for me to brace the Cotter pins while I do something else with them. Also, we have to have a straight through hole, so I used this knife successfully, just an ordinary part of my kitchen knife set, to trim off the top and bottom on the cutting board. And it was not all that difficult. I think most people are going to have a knife that'll do it. Certainly, if you don't, a hacksaw would do it. So here's my idea. These are Cotter pins, as I've said. Here's my assortment pack, which I think was in the $5 to $10 from Harbor Freight range. You don't have to pay a fortune for these. And it doesn't matter if they'd really be great Cotter pins for what they were really designed to do, because we're not going to do that. My thought is that if I reinforce the glue with this attractive rainbow tape, which I got on crooked, let me try to straighten it, that it may knit okay. And I'm going to give about the same treatment to my other item, the spool that held the hemming thread. And I'm also going to look for additional items and see if we can make some knitting jennies. Well, to me, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go get some yarn and we'll test. Here's my second homemade spool knitter. And this one's actually on a spool, just not the kind of spool we used when I was a kid. Let's cast it on and test it out. There's another whole video on knitting on these spool knitters, so you don't have to learn all that you need to know from this one, but I want to show you something. If you'll leave a long yarn tail and let it drop through, it makes it easier to control the beginning of the work. Put the first loop on the first peg. I have a little glue residue on my pegs because I told you I'm not the world's best with glue. It would be to my advantage to get that glue residue off, and I will do so. Now I'm planning on making a whole bunch more of these. And if you know my work, you will know that I already have a bunch of truly nice looms. So what on earth do I need with a zillion spool knitters? And here is the secret. I know 14 young girls from about ages 4 to 18. They're part of our Christian congregation, and we're good buddies. And I like to occasionally entertain them with some sort of craft project. And to my great joy, they now like that too and look forward to it. So I want to have enough of these spool knitters for all of those girls. And the older ones have promised to help the younger ones. And that means they need to be cheap because I'm not made of money. So this is what I'm working on. And it occurs to me, surely I'm not the only one with 14 young girlfriends, considerably younger than me, who would like to do this. So we'll see if this makes a good party and keep you posted. If the moms will permit it, I'll take some video of the girls and let you see what kind of fun they have. But I believe I can afford enough rainbow duct tape and cotter pins and glue to make 14 of these. And believe me, I have enough yarn to share with these young ladies. My idea is that each girl will learn to knit on one of these, and she will make a bracelet, and then we'll trade them, and they'll be friendship bracelets. And I need to tell you a couple other things. Right now I'm working with one of my favorite loom tools, one that I made. I've got another video on it, and it's a really good tool. This was made from a nice ink pen with its work removed and a nail inserted into it permanently with some epoxy product. And then the nail is carefully shaped and filed to be the perfect loom tool. Obviously, I'm not going to give each of these girls a tool like this. They cost several dollars each and take an hour to make. But I looked for something inexpensive that'll basically do, and you'll see me knitting with this on the other video. This is called a teasing needle. It is for dissecting, but don't tell the girls that. And this is just a rubber band that I put around it to add to the grip. You don't have to have that. You get these in batches of about a dozen at scientific supply places and some educational places. And they make adequate loom tools when you need a whole batch. So that's what I'll be able to give each girl one of, so she can keep her equipment and make more friendship bracelets. So what do you need to do this? Little bottles or big spools, duct tape, some sort of glue to hold the pins in position while you get them secured with the tape. The tape's really doing the work. I decided to put the groove of the cotter pin out in case you wanted to use it to knit like this, which on some looms I do. It's not actually turning out to be as helpful as I expected on this particular design, but it works okay. You could also use nails or even paper clips to make your pegs. And I think that's about it. The supplies are very cheap. This one, remember, was made with a bottle like this. I'm thinking that a pill bottle like this with the ends, this end, sawed off. This one still has pills in it, so I'm not going to open it, but obviously there's an open end there. I believe it would make a grippable spool knitter. So have fun with the idea, and I'll see you when we have a party.